also welcoming my feelings. For me, one thing that was really impactful and very deep was to welcome my own sadness.
Yeah.
People always telling me that I'm like the sun and I'm always very shining and laughing. Yes, it is. At the same time, I have sadness that can be triggered by something or can be triggered by the moon. That is
Yes.
what is happening at the moment. Last year,
Mm.
I experienced deep sadness, my
Mm.
own deep sadness, that I could really enjoy fully my happiness. Before, I was probably avoiding it.
Mm.
But because life made it that there were circumstances where I was so sad, but I allow it to happen.
Mm.
A few years before, I would probably not even being aware that I wouldn't allow it to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nonviolent communication is helping me every day just to be aware that there's a trigger point, a person or a situation, and I have feelings that arises because I have a need that is not met.
Mm.
If I try to identify this need that is not met,
Mm.
then the other person or the world is not responsible of my pain.
Mm.
It's this need that is not met. If I am aware of this, that I'm taking the power of my life back. But if it's you that is responsible, that I cannot do anything. So
Mm.
that's something that really, yeah, changed my life, because there's the nonviolent communication, but for me, it goes with the practice of meditation,
Yes.
because meditation really helps me to stop
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and to see and to welcome and to feel whatever is happening. There's an acceptance that will come. The only thing is, I don't know when the acceptance will come. That's why Xiao Xiao is here to remind you about being patient.
That's really beautiful. What I love about nonviolent communication is it validates all the feelings and emotions we experience instead of labeling it as something negative or bad versus good. When I was growing up, I felt so much shame when I felt sad or angry. You know, good little girls don't express anger. And that was suppressed. Now I can acknowledge it and also find out which of my needs are not being met. And I really am grateful for those emotions.
Definitely, definitely. I would go even further than this. Is in nonviolent communication, we really invite people to love all their emotions. If I'm frustrated, I welcome my frustration. If I'm enthusiastic, I welcome this enthusiasm. Behind this feeling, there's the entire world. The program we have is, I feel frustrated, okay, avoid it, I don't want to see it, or no, I'm a good girl. Like Marsha Rosenberg would say, I'm a nice dead person. I just avoid those feelings that I labeled as negative. But in fact, those feelings are me. I feel very grateful that a lot of my brother, sister, cousins, they did the 15 weeks of nonviolent communication with
Yes.
the training that I created. I feel more lightness, because now if there's a problem, and they can solve it just by listening to each other, and they have the
Yes.
tools to listen to each other. And it's not like, oh, Phounkeo, can you come? Because there's a conflict here.
Mm.
It was one of my goals when I started to share nonviolent communication or meditation or Tai Chi or Qigong. Or, it's all those practices that, I feel so much connected to myself. At a certain point, I was telling my mother, "Oh, you can do Tai Chi with this person. You can do nonviolent communication with this person." And they were asking, "Why don't you just share with us?" And I was like, "Okay." And Yeah, and it was the same with my friends, and
Mm,
it started like this. Even I remember in Shanghai, you asked me, would you do a private session with me? Because
yes,
there's some stuff that I would like to tell you and in private and not to others. And I was like,
yes.
really? I need to think about it because I didn't think about it. You were the first one asking me this.
Oh, I
And I
feel
was
kind
like,
of honored.
I feel honored. You are part of my evolution, my dear.
Yay! And you're a part of mine.
This is what we call regenerative.
Let's pivot a little bit to something that's maybe heavier. Can you
Hmm.
tell me the difference between pain and suffering in your view? Some people, even Nietzsche, for example, said life is suffering, or even Buddha. At the same time, someone like Eckhart Tolle would say, yes, life has suffering. At the same time, when you become aware of it, you can let go of it instead of holding on like, oh, the entire life is suffering. I'm curious where you stand.
Thank you for this question. Very interesting. There's pain and there's also beauty. Both exist all the time. And what I understand about what Buddha said or other masters or teachers is, let's say, I kick you and you feel that it hurts, right?
Mm-mm.
So you feel pain.
Yes.
Suffering is when you add, why did she did this? She's crazy.
She's so
She's
mean.
really,
She doesn't
she's
like
so
me.
mean. Yeah, she doesn't like me. This is suffering. When, for example, you want your friend to call you and silence, nothing. You're like, she doesn't think about me. She doesn't like me. Pain is, I would like her to call me and silence pain.
Hmm.
Suffering is all the other things that I'm creating on the top of this. And so I'm suffering. My partner, he's into a practice of Tibetan Buddhism. Well, sometimes he reminds me that all is suffering. And I'm like, no. In a sense, yes, because we have been taught in this way. Like there's different intensity of suffering. We can choose it. And with the tools that we have, nonviolent communication or meditation or Tai Chi or yoga, or we become aware of
Mm,
the suffering we are creating. And at a certain point, there would be some, what we call some realization or some
mm,
blissful moments. Those moments are very important when it's happening, that I would not be taken by it in the sense of, wow, this is so great. No, it's more like it's happening and I'm with it, but I'm very much anchored,
mm,
rooted.
mm,
So I can see it happening if I am fully present to those moments when something that would be triggering me, it can happen that there won't be suffering in a sense that the thought that goes
mm,
out. It will be something that will be connected because
mm,
in those moments, I realized that there's no separation. But we all say there's no separation. We're all united and we're all together in love. But when it's happening, we feel it and then we forget it. That's why those moments are so important to me, and not to forget about it
mm.
and to come back to this connectedness that really we are one and not separated.
Sure.
If you are in pain, then I am in pain. And if you are suffering, I can feel your pain, but I can not be in the suffering with you.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, that's
You see,
deep.
you have pain and I can feel your pain,
Mm,
but I'm not into your thoughts, the mind that makes a movie. And I'm not going to go into this because I can see you are in your own suffering that you're creating, but I can feel your pain.
can I still be empathic to someone's suffering or only to
Of
their
course,
pain?
if I'm empathic to someone who has pain, for example, the person cut his finger, then I can feel the same place and then I can feel the pain.
Mm,
But if the person says, "Oh my God, it's so painful, I'm going to fall," this is all the
Right.
movie.
And the
And
judgment. Yeah.
yes, and I can understand where the person is, but I'm not obliged to go to where the person is. That would be much more helpful if I'm not going to your place.
So you have more objective view, and you can listen and give more empathy instead of sympathy.
Yes, and the word I would use is uh, I am with you,
Hmm.
but I'm not you. That's why it's very hard for the mind to understand this. At the same time, we are not separated.
Mm. Well, MVC invites us to speak from the heart. For me, my body tells me when I feel pain or suffering. Maybe I feel tightness around my throat, or my right shoulder suddenly starts hurting, or my breath becomes shallower. Then it helps me to become aware of what's happening.
What you're saying is very important, is something that I really try to develop more, is how to simply be in contact with your body. Because I realize that so many people, they are not in contact with their body. When I started Qigong, I really understood from the practice that there's an entire world in here too. When I started nonviolent communication, I could connect the emotion to a body sensation. It's not compulsory that I put a word on my emotion, but as soon as I have identified something in my body, it can be even a color, a density, something that is flowing, it can be light. And I would really like people to be more connected to their body. This is why I'm developing some training in nonviolent communication connected with the body a lot.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, our body is so intelligent, and we were conditioned to not listen to it as much.
Yes,
Yeah.
and not to listen to it at all. You are sick, go to the doctor, he has something for you.
I
Yeah.
had a wellness center or clinic in Romania for about 4 years. I remember so clearly this lady came in. I was almost summertime, but she was in leather coat with leather hat, and she was so cold. She gave me all the test results from blood work to x-rays to MRI. She said all the doctors, they found nothing. I said, what about your emotional part? So we started talking, and it turned out her son died in a motorcycle accident years ago. That grief was never processed. So her body started showing all kinds of symptoms.
Yeah, definitely. It's not. And if we talk about love, then we talk also about freedom. Freedom comes with taking care, daily caring, and listening to the body. So important.